Do you ever feel like you're holding back because of what people might think about you? Like you want to post, you want to start a business, you want to share more of your ideas online, and you're so worried about judgment. So in today's episode, we are breaking down the fear once and for all. And I'm going to share how you can start to build self-trust, take bold action, and reframe that fear of judgment. This is going to help you finally start to show up online and in life, because everything ripples. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So this episode is going to show you how you can finally start to show up online and in real life with confidence. So welcome to Start Somewhere, the podcast. If you are a brand new listener here, my name is Isabel, I'm your host, and this is the podcast platform where I inspire you to start with the first step, not the entire staircase. So oftentimes we have this really beautiful big dream or vision for ourselves, and things such as overwhelm and fear and just, we don't know where to start. So I teach, it's all about starting with that very first step. And this podcast is your perfect place for you. So if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you decided to spend the next few moments with us. And if you are a longtime listener, I'm so grateful for your ongoing support. It means the world to me. And I've been busy. I've been doing a lot of things. If you have been following me on Instagram, if you're not already, what are you doing? I have been in the Gold Coast about 4 times in the past, I swear, month, like back and forth consistently. I have a client up in the Gold Coast and I get to travel up there quite a bit, and I have a few friends up there as well. So I make it a really fun time every time I go up there. I get to see a lot of my favorite people who live up there, and I've been teasing a little bit that I am looking at relocating interstate. I've actually been DMing some of you as well and just letting you guys know what's been going on and where I'm thinking. And so it's about time the podcast gets to hear the updates, gets to hear the news. So little life update, here we go. I am moving to the Gold Coast. Yay, insert cheering, insert all the fun things. I'm so excited. So I am going to be living with 2 very good friends of mine, and we have been looking at places for almost a month now online. So things are really picking up. Obviously, as I mentioned, I have my client up there, so I get to do a bunch of work. The podcast industry, the coaching industry is up there. It's huge. It's where it's happening. It's where it's at. So I just know once I do transition up there, things are going to boom even more, which I'm just ecstatic about. So yeah, if you've been wondering where I'm moving to, or if you've just been if you've been wondering where I'm moving to or where I'm at with that whole journey, that's the latest updates. I am starting to tell more and more people here in Adelaide. I realized I wasn't telling people for a few weeks. I mean, for a few reasons. I wanted to wait until things were more like set in stone, like we knew where we were moving and when we were moving, because that was really up in the air for some time. And I also realized that by me not telling people, it wasn't making it real in my reality. And yeah, like now that I've started to tell people, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And yes, it is. So super, super excited, and really excited as well. Guys, I'm hosting a masterclass. So this is what the next few episodes are going to be all around, all about successful content creation, the mindset for it, and best of all, how to create content without feeling burnt out. I feel like burnout has been such a common theme for a lot of our listeners and myself recently, not even in content creation, but like overall, like just life. And, you know, I've been talking to a few people, and there's been such this similar theme where we are constantly chasing for the next goal, the next fulfillment. And it's like we achieve it, we tick it off, and it's not enough. We instantly want the next best thing. And we're not really just relishing and celebrating the amazing wins or the amazing successes that we've actually achieved. And this translates and this ripples when it comes to posting online as well. So I used to worry so much what people thought of me. Like, can you even believe that? Because right now, there's just not a single ounce of that at all. It's a really great quote, I think you can call it a quote, where it's like, a business owner is never going to judge somebody for wanting to start a business. A personal trainer is never going to judge somebody for wanting to get fit and to get in shape. So do you see the trend here? People who judge you are most likely in a position that you don't actually want to be in. And I've always lived my life this way by reframing it, and don't take advice from somebody unless they are in a position that you actually want to be in too. That's why it's so powerful to invest in mentors and coaches who have done the thing that you want to do. So I actually just got off a call with a potential client about an hour ago, and she was saying that she wants to learn from somebody who is just those few steps ahead of you, who can show her the way, who can give you those starting steps. And that is why my coaching business is a thing. That's why I do coaching, because I teach my clients what those next starting steps are. And the best part about my business and my coaching is that I am only a few steps ahead of you. I'm not so far ahead of you where it's completely unrealistic and not achievable for you to catch up to where I am. I'm not so far ahead where I can't even remember what it's like to be in your shoes. In fact, I was only in your position not even that long ago, which is a great thing because I can recall it so easily. I've been able to shift out of it so easily, and I'm only those few steps ahead of you. And that is how the whole piece of momentum really forms. I notice, like, in particular with my clients, like when I'm really doing well in life and business, which is honestly all the time these days, my clients are like that as well, because it's that momentum piece that catches up. And so I surround myself by people who are far more successful than me, who have even more money than me. And it's so great to be around that, because it's like when you surround yourself by people who are just a little bit above and they're doing the things that you want to do, they have the money, they have the success, they have insert whatever else it is that you want, you are able to learn from them in such a drastic way. So get in rooms, get in conversations, hire people that are only a few steps ahead of you, because it's a no-brainer. And that's honestly how I as well have been able to achieve so much amazing success, because I'm constantly surrounding myself by those types of people. Reframing the fear of judgment is what will really change the game for you. So instead of fearing negativity, what if instead you could assume people were inspired by your growth? So we love to think that we know everything. We love to think that everybody is concerned about us and thinking about us. And, if we start to post more online or we start to show up differently or talk about something that we don't typically do, we love to think that people are talking about it nonstop. When newsflash, they're probably not, which is great. And so instead, what if you could assume all this fear of negativity that you have is actually people who are really inspired by your growth, who are really inspired by everything that you can do. So it's really just about reframing a lot of these thoughts. And as I mentioned, fear of judgment, but there's also things like fear of success, which is such an interesting which is such an interesting concept. And a lot of the times we can fear success on a subconscious level. Therefore, we are quite literally blocking it from coming into our reality, because there is this subconscious fear that we are not deserving of success, that we can't have it, that, once we get it, it's going to leave us. Insert whatever other limiting belief you have there. So imagine being able to firstly gain clarity on the fear of success that you actually have. And then secondly, be able to work through it. And that's a lot of what I cover in particular with my coaching, and also what is really involved when it comes to the mindset for successful content creation. Because if you're going through a bit of a rut, you're going to find it a little bit difficult to show up consistently online, because your mindset is essentially what stops us from starting. It's your mindset that dictates everything in life. And the best part is that it's your mindset that can actually change if you decide that. It's all about reframing everything. It's all about reframing challenges or limiting beliefs into something so much more successful. It's all about reframing a negative situation that you're in and instead being like, okay, how can I use this to my advantage? If you are in a place in your life where perhaps things aren't working out well for you, maybe you've just lost your job, or you're in a job that you really dislike. You're not doing all the things that you want. You have all these dreams, all these ambitions, and you're honestly just not making any movement forward. Instead of sitting in this, oh, woe is me, negative little pity party, remember, misery loves company. How can you reframe this whole situation and be like, what is this actually teaching me? What is this giving me the space to do and have and be instead? So I'm going to dive into a few actionable tips for you to take, because this is a very masculine style of episode where I want to give you tangible tactics that you can take. And I know you're going to grab so much value from all of these. So listen up, pull out the notes app on your phone, get a journal, or come back to this when you're at a place when you can actually write down notes and take some action. And if you haven't already joined our free masterclass yet, what on earth are you doing? This is the masterclass that is really going to help you alleviate all senses of overwhelm, of stress, of worry, of fear, of judgment, of just having no idea, what do I actually post? Like, what is the content that is actually going to help move the needle forward in my business? So I'll be sharing a lot more on the masterclass at the end of this episode. So if you are interested, be sure to stick around to that. So let's go straight into the tangible tips for you to take in all about creating a successful mindset for successful content creation. So number one, plan your content in advance. So many of us love to just do things on the fly. I speak to a lot of people that they just like wake up, they put a post up and that's it. And there's no real strategy behind it. Now that is great and that can serve a certain purpose and a certain season of your life. However, the fact you're tuning into this tells me that you want to really level up when it comes to your content. And to level up involves an element of planning and an element of strategy. And that involves a content calendar. That involves planning your content in advance. That involves being prepared. And the reason why this is so important and why this is actually linked to mindset is because when you have a plan, when you are prepared, when you feel prepared, you feel more confident. So when you plan your content with intention, it's reinforcing that you actually know what you're doing. So it goes a layer deeper opposed to just being like, yeah, I've got my content calendar. Okay, that's great. But what does that actually mean for you on a mindset level? What does that actually mean for you on a personal level? It shows you like, hey, I've got my shit together. It shows you that, hey, I actually know what I'm doing. It instills this really beautiful piece of trust and self-belief. And that is going to ripple into so much more of what you do online. So plan your content. Number two, do things that challenge you outside of business. So I mentioned this just before. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I teach and I share a very much holistic approach when it comes to my personal branding coaching, because mindset is so crucial. I mean, this podcast episode, but then secondly, how we do everything else in life, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's our social life, whether it's our relationships, our friendships, insert whatever else it is in your life. So I challenge you. I give you a task. I want you to try something new this week. Maybe it's a new workout class. Maybe it's an early morning wake up. Maybe it's saying no to something. And the reason I share this is because when we can start to build discipline in one area of our life, this will strengthen confidence everywhere. I share this quite a lot. When I first started my business, or when I relaunched my business in December of 2024, I really ramped up my fitness routine and I was just training so much more. And that was a whole element of strategy behind it, because I know how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so I knew by really going 100% and saying yes to new classes and waking up earlier and trying new things that I hadn't done before, that was going to ripple into how I do so much more in my business. And that's exactly what I got to do. So where can you start to challenge yourself outside of your current routine? Okay, next actionable tip is, this is really important, guys. Limit your overconsumption and stop overanalyzing others. So let's break this down. Are you consuming more than you are creating? I said this to a friend the other day, we were chatting, And she was feeling a bit burnt out when it comes to creating content and just not knowing what to post and essentially posting for the sake of posting. And then I shared this quote because this is what I really live a lot of my routine in life by is do not consume more than you create. I mean, and that can be translated, like that can be mapped across to so much more of your life. Do not overconsume. Where can you spend more time to be, to create, to enjoy? I received the most beautiful message from one of my one-to-one clients today, and she was saying that she is living her dream life. She sent me this voice message and she was saying she's done all the things in her morning routine. She has a really great day planned ahead, and she realized that this is exactly what she's been wanting to do for so long. And she sent the most beautiful gratitude message. So thank you so much to that really beautiful client of mine who sent me that message. I know you're listening and I'm so grateful for you. And it's so like the women that I attract and that I get to work with, I'm like, how is this even life? Like, it's so amazing. And if you resonate with any of our podcast episodes, if you want to be living that as well, then I guarantee we're probably perfect as well to be working together. And I actually don't work with everybody. There's been a few people that they just haven't been the right fit. And it's like, it's all about results and it's all about you getting what you want. And it's all about me being able to be that, ideal coach, that ideal mentor for you. And sometimes it's just not the right fit, and that's okay. We need to make sure that you get the right person for you. And I'm saying this because if you're somebody that tunes into the podcast regularly, or maybe this is even your first time and you're already really vibing it, you're already still here, chances are it would be perfect to work with each other. And it's just that really beautiful piece. Like, you can learn so much from somebody that is only a few steps ahead of you. And yeah, I have my podcast. I've had it for about 5 years now, which is just, I really need to come to terms with that. That's huge. My coaching business, I replaced my 9-to-5 income within a month of relaunching my business. And yeah, it's just like, it's so cool. The success and the momentum, like the momentum piece is huge. So if you're ready just to like take those steps, it's up to you. It's like, I believe and I back in my offer and my coaching so much that I know it's for the right people. And it's just, yeah, it's phenomenal to see the results that people actually get. It's like, this works beautifully. So anyway, little side note plug there. Just felt the need to share that. So back to what we're saying about do not overconsume. So I've actually been bringing it back to basics when it comes to my wellness routines recently. I've really neglected, guys, this is really sad. I've really neglected meditation recently, which is so unlike me. And so I was chatting with a friend yesterday and we're talking all about these practices, and she was saying how she's meditating every day. And I'm like, fuck, like that used to be me and I've just neglected it so much. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm holding myself accountable. I'm going to start to meditate every day now moving forward. And meditation, like I know it works. I know it does wonders. It's like I just forgot that for a moment. And this morning I woke up, I meditated for 20 minutes and then I jumped on a call like literally 15 minutes later. And I'm like, wow, I just feel so much more energized. I have more space. I feel more clear despite having a back-to-back schedule. Like my schedule has been pretty crazy, but like crazy in the best way because I love being busy. I love doing all these things. And it's like, I don't want to feel burnt out and feel like I can't do all of these things because I love it, right? So it's like, okay, what tools do I have in my toolkit, right? What resources do I have that I can pull from and ensure I can actually do everything I want to do in such a beautiful way? And that is meditation. And to me, that is a piece, like that is an example of me not over consuming. It's carving out space to create. It's carving out space purely to be. And that is where so much of the magic can come from. That is where so much of the beautiful ideas, the downloads, the space in order to call more in. And chances are, if you're somebody that really wants to start creating and taking their content so much more seriously, you do need that mental space in your life because, yeah, you can have the calendar, you can have all the ideas, you can have all the strategies, but if your mindset isn't actually in check, it's not going to work. And I can say that from experience. I can say that from the clients I've helped. I can say that from what I've seen around me all the time. So you're tuning into this podcast, so you're already like 80% there. So let's keep going. Okay. So overanalyzing others. I'll touch on this quite briefly, but there's a really fine line between taking inspiration from people in your industry versus copying them. Because when we can take too much inspiration and we end up copying them, we actually end up overanalyzing them. And we end up essentially comparing ourselves to them, whether on a conscious or a subconscious level. And so instead, I want you to focus on your own content, on your own progress, on your own goals. And something I do with all of my clients and what I'll be sharing in the masterclass as well is getting really clear what is realistic to your lifestyle, what is realistic to you. Because chances are my schedule, my goals, my objectives will quite possibly be very different to yours, and that's perfect. So when you can start to focus on your own lane, watch yourself grow, celebrate your success, you're just really going to be so pleasantly surprised at how powerful and how impactful that actually is for you. So now we're going to switch gears just a little bit, and I'm actually going to share, I mentioned just before how fitness and business are connected. So how your health, how looking after your mind and your body and even your soul are so connected to your business, are so connected to your side hustle, are so connected to your new creative ideas, your passion projects, whether you have a business or you want to have a business, how all of this is so interlinked. So when we can start to show up differently, when we can start to move differently in other areas of our life, we already know that's going to ripple back into your work, your career, your business. And I often task a lot of my clients habits and actions for them to do outside of business. Whether it's as simple as, okay, I feel a lot of us have a vision board, but how much of your vision board is actually in your reality yet? So bear with me here. There's this fine line of having a really beautiful vision board with all of the things that we want, and it actually just feels so far-fetched and so out of reach. And so a few little tips and tricks here is to incorporate images and pictures and quotes of things that are already in your current reality. That way you feel so much more connected to it. This is like a really simple, beautiful example. So one of my clients on her vision board, she had this really beautiful desk. And I said, what does your current desk look like now compared to what's on your vision board? And she replied, quite different. So I said, okay, great. I want you to do what you can to make that vision board desk a reality in your current desk. Now, bear with me. This is so simple. And she went out to do this. And I guarantee by our next call, which is next week, I'm so keen to find out if you're listening to this. I know my client's probably listening to this. I'm so excited to hear what kind of like energetic shifts that this is actually going to take. So start to look at other areas outside of your business and how can you start to shift those things? So I mentioned before that I get a lot of people that feel like they're posting and they don't actually know if it's converting, or they don't know if it's the right thing to post, or they're just questioning, am I posting for the sake of posting? And that typically is how things like overwhelm and burnt out can really start to form, because we are in this like phase and this place of doing and doing. And so instead, focusing on posting with strategy, with intention, is what is going to help shift the gears and alleviate that sense of burnout. And I'm actually going to share so much more on this in the masterclass. There's just too much to cover in this podcast episode now. But if you resonate with any of that, then I'm so excited to give you all of the learnings to help alleviate that feeling for you. One of my other like really favorite, I don't know, quotes, would you call it, sayings, beliefs. So I really want to take it back. I've already touched on this, I know, but I want to take it back even more. I know that so many of us, we really fear what people are thinking of us when it comes to posting online. This is such a common feeling and experience for so many people in business. Even some of my top mentors say this as well, that if they could go back, if they could change something, it would be to stop caring and to stop worrying of what people think of them. So I want to challenge you to reframe it this way. If for some reason people are talking about you when it comes to you posting more online or starting your business or sharing more about whatever it is that you're doing, you're literally winning. Okay? If somebody's talking about you, it's free marketing. So keep going. Eventually, you want to get to a place where your content is polarizing. And polarizing means that you are pissing people off, and on the opposite of that, you are resonating with people on such a new level where they are just obsessed. They are attracted. They are so magnetized to your content. And that's what polarization is all about. So think about people that are super famous. They typically have a whole bunch of haters. They also have a huge amount of fans and followers. There's not many famous people that are well liked or loved by everybody. There's always the opposite, okay? And that's the whole law of polarity. There's always some kind of opposite reaction. There's always some kind of opposite to everything. Day and night, good and bad, the moon, the sun, like that kind of concept there. So if somebody is talking about you, if you're worried about people talking about you online, it's free marketing. It's free word of mouth advertising. And that's why I mentioned before the power of staying in your own lane, because if you are a woman who knows she wants to do and create big, beautiful things in this world, which I know you are because you're listening to this podcast, you cannot worry of what people think of you. It's so simple, okay? I really want to go deeper on this though. This is why instead we have to focus on confidence. And confidence is built from taking action, not from waiting. Confidence is built from getting out of your own way. Confidence is built from staying so anchored in your own belief, your vision, your passion, everything that you want to create, and not allowing the opinions, the thoughts, the beliefs of other people to stop you. So it's like you meet yourself at a crossroad. Which way are you going to go? Are you going to say yes to your dreams, your ambitions, everything that you want to achieve? Or are you going to allow these thoughts of what people might think about you online instead stop you? I honestly could not imagine being in that place where I'm just so paralyzed of what people are going to think about me, and that stops me from showing up, and that stops me from stepping out and creating all that I want. I really can't even imagine what that's like. I used to be there once upon a time. Of course I did. That's how I actually started. But then instead I just got so obsessed with my vision and what I want to do and what I want to create in this world. I just became so anchored in it. And that is, if you take anything from this episode, I want it to be that. How can you become even more anchored in your vision and all that you want to create? Whether you've already created it, whether you just have an idea on a notebook in the top drawer of your bedside table, or you're somebody that already has a business and you have some paying clients, or maybe even just one client. Where can you become even more anchored in your whole business mission and vision? Because that is what is really going to drive you. So I'm going to leave this episode here. I hope you got so much value from it. If you did, you're going to get even more from the masterclass. I've really just scraped the surface here, okay? I'm saving all the juice for the masterclass. It is completely free. So guys, it's a no-brainer. If you are into content creation, if you want to be more into content creation and you want to show up more online, more authentically, minimize the burnout, this is the masterclass for you. I'm going to run through all of my systems and processes to create content consistently, the mindset that you need, how to see ideas everywhere. That really is my specialty. I can have a conversation with a client, someone in my audience, even just a friend, and I can see how I can turn that into some kind of content. So the link to secure your seat is in the show notes of this podcast. If you're watching me on YouTube, it's in the description box below. I'm so excited for the masterclass. You're going to get so much value from it. And I can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Start Somewhere, the podcast. I will be back in your ears with a brand new episode every single Tuesday.